What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute. Got a lot going on. I actually took a whole month off of work to try jam out a lot of these projects I got going on here. Today would be my last day, and then I go back to work. So I'm just gonna update you guys on a little bit of the projects I got going on here. We got, like, I don't know, 4 main Rx7s I've been working on for like the last month, and then like 2 are going home today, I think, or at least 1. So this is a buddy of mine, Alex, his little NAFC. I built the motor a while ago, street ported. It's got the actuators in it, which actually kind of work, which is kind of rare to kind of see for my builds. They actually work. It's a cool car. It came in because the rear end was making a bunch of noise. The back brakes were terrible. They had hawk pads in the back, not in front. And swapped out the rear end already. It's already swapped. Retuning the car, just typical airflow meter stuff. 3 more clicks richer. Advance the timing a little bit, but not too much. Just enough to kind of get it to rev a little bit quicker. And now I just got to put some gear oil in the back. Put the air filter back together because he doesn't have an aftermarket air filter. He has a stock air box. And go give it a test drive. Hopefully Alex can come pick it up today and get another RX-7 out of my yard. He's driven the motor about 2,000 miles, he said. Pretty fun car. Just a little NA. It's actually a 4-lug, which I rarely see. I'm like, wow, 4-lug. I redid the suspension too because the car drove pretty bad. It would understeer, it would front bounce, it did all kind of stuff. And he drives this on a toge and stuff, so just kind of like make the drivability a little bit better. And since I have a lot of experience with this car, I'm just making the suspension to what I would have it set at and then see if he likes it. So let's get some gear oil in this thing and let's go give it a test drive. What a pain that was, but I don't have a 23 anymore. I broke them all. I'm supposed to have a special socket for that. But basically, this rear end needs to be filled up with gear oil all the way until this overflows, and that's how you know it's topped off. You want to try to keep the car kind of level. It is designed to go a little bit angled, but if you fill it up when it's like this, obviously you're just gonna get more fluid in it. So we'll probably lift up the front a little bit just to kind of keep it level so we can put the proper amount of fluid in it. But yeah, man, whew. This would be to drain it, that would be to fill it. Fill it up to here till it starts overflowing. And I don't have a cool pump. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned pump style, which is gonna take me forever to fill it up. Let's get started on that. Okay, so we made the car level, and look, we have fluid coming out. Looks pretty clean, looks pretty new, so that means I already had gear oil in it. So I guess we can cap that up and call it a day. Looks like it's filled up already. So I guess just to put this intake back together and let's give this thing a test drive. And so the reason why I have the air box taken apart is because I need to see how much fuel needs to be adjusted to the car. And how I do that is I pop this cover open right here. Come on. And now, the more this thing opens, the more fuel it gets. Now this is not for like 100% tuning capabilities, but you can adjust how much fuel. So if you start it up and it idles here and it needs a little bit more fuel, you see that spring right there? You can release it to give more fuel. And more fuel at idle will obviously mean more fuel on top end, but at WOT it'd always be the same. So this is how I adjust it. You can also use this has a vacuum bypass that goes through, and it goes through the intake, so it kind of makes an intake leak to create it to like have the flapper more closed. But you can actually screw that down, and then more vacuum will make the flapper more open, or yeah, more open, and then that'll essentially give you more gas at idle. Now, one thing you need to remember, this box, how it's glued in here, there's a reason why it's glued in here. Make sure if you're gonna get this wet at all, that board doesn't get wet. Once that gets wet, this thing's no good. I've done that many times. When I used to live in Hawaii, I'd open this thing up, I'd drift into a water puddle, water would get everywhere, would get inside of here, and my car wouldn't run. So just keep that in mind. But let's start it up to see if the car is okay, and then we'll put the air box all back together, because I don't want to take it on and off, on and off, on and off. One thing I love about this car, so one thing I wanted to test out was the rear end, because the old one was noisy, man. Second. Seems to be good. I don't hear no noise. We won't know until we drive it though. It's not idle yet. That throttle response is so nice. There we go. We got idle. So this is what I was talking about. You can open the flapper more. See how it wants to die? You can lean it out, see how it did die. That means we have it pretty much set perfectly, where if I just push it open a little bit, it wants to die, and if I close it a little bit, it wants to die. So that's perfect. The reason why you would do this in any application of these 13Bs, S4, S5, same thing. S5 you can only adjust the screw, but the only reason why you would do this is if you give her the emissions, or you have it street ported, or etc. You have more flow and you're not putting waste gas back in the engine, so you have to give it more fresh gas to keep it going properly. So that's what we had to do in this one. But it seems to be okay right here, so I'm going to put it back together. I'll drop it down on the ground and let's test drive it. Alright, so we're here with Alex, the owner of the Black FC. This is his first drive with it. I just took him for a little test drive with it. I think he liked it a little bit. I don't know.
Liked it a little too much.
His hat flew off. So, like I said, we worked with the suspension components and then the power. For it. The car took a shit on me while I was driving it. I was driving it, and then all of a sudden it just went and wouldn't go nowhere. Like I act like I had no gas or anything. Turns right here. So this is his first drive with the car. Hopefully he can take it home, get a new TPS in it. I might have one. I gotta search, but for now, it does drive. It does run. So. Alright, so Mr. Alex is out. Car is good. He's got some coolant buzzer issues, but he'll be alright. Nope. Noob drivers. Noob drivers.